Hello boys and girls, Steve here, bringing you this little introduction to my interview with Malakith or Malakith Skadi Gaming. We had a nice little chat about this channel in general, and then we went on with a discussion about clan-based gaming because he really has a ton of experience with that. So I hope you guys enjoy. So Malakith, I wanted to start with you. How would you, as a former colonel, start playing Napoleonic Wars?
I actually got into the game through Mountain Musket, which was the free-to-download mod that came before Napoleonic Wars, which was when they got developer support. Now, like everyone else, I kind of just downloaded it as a random mod for Warband. You just see it on the mod database website. Ran into a public server, saw complete chaos, didn't really like it, dropped it for a minute, and didn't have any intention of really going back. But then the game I was playing at the time was Sony based, and Sony had their big hacking scandal. The whole thing shut down for months on end. So, middle of summer, I thought, why not give that mod another try? I actually got into a line battle event to give it a proper go under a regiment name, which was the 77Y, and it's just sort of gone from there.
Nice. Yeah, indeed. And those public servers can be like Call of Duty, but with really inaccurate guns. So it's not much fun about that.
No, you definitely need to try the organized side of it to get the game any justice at all. And unfortunately, most of the reviews for the game don't do that. So you won't find favorable reviews for the mod generally.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately. So why did you decide to start to recording those line battles?
Well, at the time, I already had the beginnings of my YouTube channel going. I think I was mostly doing Crusader Kings, and things were starting to pick up, and I wanted to expand it a little bit. And it just kind of made sense. I was trying to schedule releases so they happened on specific days, and those events happen on specific days, so the two just kind of paired up nicely.
And about your channel, what were like the major milestones you experienced?
Most YouTube channels, the first big major milestone is when they hit that one game that people actually seem to be interested in and start subscribing to, and it just builds up and builds up as they recommend it to people and other people find it, and it goes up in the view rankings and therefore more find it. And that just snowballs until you hit the point where you've got enough to be partnered, so you get the amount of views a month you need for a channel to be willing to partner you. And after that, it's all just a big milestone. There's this many views, this many subs. You're just constantly setting yourself little goals.
Yes. You're now about to hit 9k subs, which is pretty impressive in my eyes, actually. Uh, but you have like your uploading schedule, everybody knows. But what is your weekly schedule you have to do to make all those fits, and how much effort does it take to follow this schedule?
Well, certain events like the Napoleonic Wars ones happen at specific times, so they've got no say in when those happen. I have to play them at the time they occur, otherwise it doesn't go up as a video. The other things, because they're solo play, I can pretty much play them whenever I feel like. So whenever I get time, I'll get in an episode or possibly more than one at a time, which usually irritates people in the comments because they make suggestions, but you've already played the next two episodes, so there's no way you could incorporate them at all. Other than that, you've got to allow an hour or two for editing. That depends largely on the game. Napoleonic Wars is a big problem because you've got all the between round stuff that goes on and between map changes, and you need to edit all that out. Otherwise, it's just useless footage really. So that takes longer than something that's a continuous play from start to finish.
Yeah, indeed, I can imagine. And you also do live stream, and you also upload your live streams to YouTube. Is this to spare some time, or do you want a bigger communication between you and the viewers?
Okay, well, I do live streams to start with because they're very quick and easy. If I decide I want to live stream, I just walk into XSplit, push broadcast, and it's live. That's it. I'm off. As opposed to having to set up, plan when I'm going to edit, plan when I'm going to release, all that sort of rubbish. And when I'm doing it, obviously you get instant feedback in the comments from the people that are watching, which, especially when you're planning new series or trying out new things, that instant feedback's always helpful rather than having to put up an episode and wait a week for everyone to comment on it. And some people, they will decide they don't like it and they just switch off, but they don't tell you they don't like it and they don't tell you why. So it's useful from that aspect. But the other one is, again, if you're doing a standard recording, you then have to edit it. You then have to upload it after you've rendered it for 2 to 3 hours, depending on how long the video is. So with XSplit and Twitch and other live streaming systems like that, you avoid that because as you're live streaming, it goes straight to their server. When you're done, you just go upload to YouTube if you've got a link to a YouTube channel. It goes over, and about 2 minutes later, it appears in your library on YouTube, and then you just have to wait for YouTube to process it, and you're done pretty much. I mean, you lose control over being able to edit it as much, but so as a trade-off, you have to design it from the start to support that sort of format.
Yeah, it's very handy indeed. Now I would like to start a little discussion with you about clan gaming because you have quite some experience with that.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just explain briefly how much experience do you have and in what games?
Okay, well, I've been clan gaming since I've had the internet, which was back when Wireplay was the UK system on dial-up modems. For anyone who's been around that long, they'll know the pain of that time. The original sort of Rainbow Six game, Age of Empires, the original Air Attack was a big flight sim that I was into at that time. And from then onwards, Medal of Honor, Counter-Strike, just pretty much every game, especially FPS between then and now. MMOs as well are obviously another big one. So plenty of experience of multitude of types and sizes of clans.
Okay, out of all this experience, could you make like one big general advice for a successful clan?
It's nearly always if you're leading the clan, it's nearly always get a core group of people that you can rely on and that are friendly and are just willing to play together. I mean, that's how most of the communities start out, and as long as they're there, you're encouraged to go and play with them. They're encouraged to come play with you, and that's what keeps the clan going.
Yeah, so just a friendly environment to start off with, and the rest will come, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, and what are then the more difficult parts of managing a clan?
I always split these down into sort of two things. You've got the logistics side, which very much depends on the game. If you've got something like, let's take World of Warcraft, an example, it's got an in-game roster, it's got an in-game calendar, it's got, all sorts of in-game stuff that it just does for you. At most, you need an out-of-game forum, and that's about it. If you take something like Napoleonic Wars, it has none of that. You have to track your own members. You have to get your own voice chat because there's no in-game. You have to, have a full forum to explain what's going on. So it really depends on the game, but there can be a lot of work there on TeamSpeak servers, game servers, things like that. The other side of it is just managing the people. A big problem is people always want to advance and they always want to be given more responsibility, but unfortunately there's only so much responsibility to go around at any given time. So you often end up losing people because they feel they can't advance within the group, and that's just part of being in a clan, unfortunately.
Yeah, something like every clan sees now and then. And then when you're playing, let's call it scrims for now, because as a general term, how does the rule sets and the planning work? Because in every game there must be tons of different versions of just rule sets, of maps, or just what people decide, hey, we should do it like this.
This is where definitely more recently it's become a lot cloudier. I'll say back with the original Counter-Strike and all of that sort of, I'll call them era of games, nearly all of this was league based. You had ladder leagues that had established sets of rules. They were dictated to you. That was what you played with this many people, with this many rounds for this long. Especially with Napoleonic Wars and sort of more modern stuff, it's nearly always dictated by the person unless they go out of their way to, find that kind of league system. But a lot of games just don't have them anymore. There's not, a central league for every game in existence. So a lot of it is, organized by individual hosts. And they will always pick the rule set that they, enjoy the most or their clan enjoys the most. And so you just got to find the events that suit you in most cases.
Yeah. So it's just an unfortunate evolution of the more old school gaming then.
Yeah, I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages. Being able to customize it however you like means
Yeah.
that you're not getting the bad parts of what used to come with those leagues, but it also means that it's generally less consistent throughout the community.
Yeah, okay. Then a little bit more about the developers supporting clans in game? Because you mentioned something about World of Warcraft example, the in-game rosters, voice chat, etc. What are the ways you consider that are mostly necessary to have in a game to have clan-based gaming?
I think there's three kind of scenarios. Two of them work in different ways, and one really doesn't. So one is to go full extreme, give them everything. World of Warcraft, rosters. You got your tag on the front of your name. You can organize the calendar. You got built-in chat. The game does everything for you. The other one is Napoleonic Wars version, which is where the game does absolutely nothing for you, but at the same time, it doesn't lock you to anything. You can go change your name whenever you like, which means that people can organize their own communities, their own clan tags. It's not a problem. It's not restricted at all. The middle one is where you get a problem where you have to sign up for an account with one name and you're locked to that name, and you then can't put tags on the front or the back, and you have to make a whole new character to get those tags on, which in a progression based game means you're starting from scratch all over again every time you want to change clan. That's when the developers really screw over clan gaming, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then for my last question, a little bit of imagination. If you were a developer, how would you support clan-based gaming for your game?
Um, well, obviously, I wouldn't go for that middle option where you lock people in and it causes them hassle. I can appreciate that the World of Warcraft end of it is a lot of work on their part. So if they would rather spend their time, getting their game polished, then they should go for the other extreme of just giving complete freedom, because people will sort their own stuff out if the option is there for them to do it. You just have to make it easy for them. But it depends how you want to develop it. One thing I would like to see a lot more clans doing, developers, sorry, doing is supporting the ability for the game to be sort of publicized and viewed. I mean, you look at StarCraft's league system with commentary and spectators. That's a massive thing in South Korea and stuff, especially. People are wanting to watch people play games a lot more. I mean, obviously, I'm a bit biased as a YouTuber, but that seems to be the general trend. It's becoming much more of a spectator thing as well. Twitch is sort of demonstrating that, League of Legends and such. If putting those features in turn supports the clans, because they've kind of got more of an incentive to try and take it more competitively.
Yeah, like in Korea, StarCraft there is just on national television. League of Legends is a huge hype now. You see it on lots of streams, big tournaments getting live streamed all over the world. So indeed, if a developer could manage to do that for its game, it will sell better and it will last longer.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff you want isn't too difficult to put in. I mean, Napoleonic Wars has a spectator view, which is nice, but simple things like how many people are alive on each team. If you push tab, it's there, but they could just have a little splash screen up in the corner that tells you, really basic just information so people can look at it from the spectator view, would just help immeasurably.
Well, and that concludes our little nice chat. I would like to thank you for making some time for me, and maybe I'll see you next time.
Yep, sure. See, thanks for having me.